The suns hung like twin blades over the burning horizon as Captain Reese staggered across the red desert, blood soaking the sand behind him. The crash had left him half alive and entirely alone. His shuttle was a smoking husk miles away, his canteen empty, and his side torn open by a shard of hull metal. Each breath came out as a ragged rasp. He felt his knees, vision dimming. The sand shifted under him like something breathing. When he raised his head, the shimmer of heat resolved into a figure. A woman walked across the dunes, barefoot, wrapped in strands of fabric the color of dust. Her hair spilled behind her in a black river that caught the light of the suns. She carried a staff tipped with a cactus bloom glowing faint blue. "Stay back," Reese croaked, raising his sidearm that barely worked. She ignored it. "You bleed onto the sacred soil," she said in a voice that was two tones at once, one human, one like the wind. "You will die if I do not bind you." "Don't," he began, but she knelt beside him, her scent sharp like rain on stone. Without another word, she tore a handful of her own hair free. The strands gleamed like living metal. She wound them around a cactus thorn she broke from her staff, dipped it into his blood, and began to sew his wound. The pain was lightening. He tried to shove her away, but her grip was inhumanly strong. "Be still," she hissed. "The desert listens." The thorn pierced, her hair threaded through his flesh, tightening with a life of its own. When she finished, she pressed her palm over the seam and whispered something in a language that hummed through his bones. Heat flared through him, then silence. The bleeding stopped. The pain was gone. He blinked. The gash was gone too, replaced by faint glowing lines like veins of amber. "What did you do?" he gasped. "I kept you," she said. Her hair now hung shorter, uneven, burned at the ends. "My hair carries what grows. It can close the broken and wake the sleeping. But every gift has a cost." "What cost?" he demanded, but she only turned away. "Sleep. The suns will show you." He passed out on the sand. When he woke, his throat dry and eyes aching from light. Something felt wrong. His skin itched terribly. He pulled up his sleeve and froze. Dark hair had sprouted across his arm, thick and coarse. "No," he whispered. "No, no, no." The woman stood on a nearby dune, staring toward the horizon. "It begins," she murmured. "What begins?" "The desert's claim." He stumbled toward her. "Fix it." She didn't move. "You bled into the ground. The desert took your blood as seed. It grows you back in its image." "You call this life?" he shouted, pointing to the fur crawling across his skin. "I call it survival," she said. "Would you rather be bones in the sand?" He wanted to curse her, but when he met her eyes, he saw sadness, not malice. They traveled together after that. She said her name was Selah to the Daughters of Dust. She knew where to find water hidden in stones and where the storm slept. Each night his reflection changed. Thicker hair, sharper nails, keener hearing. He could smell the iron in her blood, hear the worms move beneath the dunes. "You're turning me into an animal," he said one evening. She shook her head, into what the desert remembers. When he asked what that meant, she only said, "Long ago there were men who walked with the storms. They were strong enough to survive. The desert remembers them. It remembers through you." On the fifth day, a sandstorm rose like a living wall. The wind screamed. Selah grabbed his hand. "This way." They ran toward the rocks ahead. But the storm moved faster. Lightning cracked sideways across the dunes, striking the sand into glass. She pressed her bleeding hand to a slab of black stone etched with old symbols. The rock split open, revealing a tunnel lit by blue veins. Inside, the air was cool and thick with the scent of cactus sap. The tunnel opened into a chamber filled with statues, each one a creature half man, half beast, their eyes carved with sorrow. In the center stood a figure crowned in thorns, covered head to toe in hair. Reese stared. "Who is that?" "The first healed," Selah whispered. "A warrior like you. A woman saved him with her hair. The desert took her gift and made him its guardian." She touched the statue's chest. "Every age is one. Every age forgets." "And now it's me," he said bitterly. "I never asked for this." "Neither did he," she said softly. The ground shuddered. The statue's eyes glowed faint blue. The roots along the walls pulsed. "It has chosen," Sailor said, backing away. "Reese, listen. If you fight it, you die. If you accept, you live forever. I don't want forever. Then give it meaning." The roots burst from the floor, wrapping his legs, his arms. He shouted as they sank into his skin. Light poured from his eyes, his mouth. Sailor reached toward him, but the light engulfed them both. When it faded, she was gone. The chamber was silent, only the echo of his own heartbeat filling it. He looked down at himself. His body was covered in fur, his wounds gone, his strength enormous. The roots had become part of him. He could feel the heartbeat of the world beneath his feet. He walked out into the dawn. The storm had passed. The desert stretched endlessly, alive with whispers he could now understand. They called his name. Days later, he found a traveler dying of thirst, half buried in the sand. He knelt, tore a lock of his own fur, and pressed it to the man's wound. The hair glowed, sank in, healed. The traveler wept. Reese only said, "Rest. The desert remembers." At night, he looked at the horizon where the suns dipped low, and he heard her voice in the wind. "Every gift has a cost, but now you belong." He whispered back, "Then let me be its keeper." The dunes glowed faintly blue as if nodding. From that day on, wanderers spoke of a beast with human eyes that guided the lost out of storms and healed the dying with threads of light. They said his fur shone like night, and when the wind passed over dunes, it carried the laughter of a woman who had once given her hair to save a stranger. The desert was alive. It was fed. And somewhere beneath the twin suns, its chosen guardian walked forever beneath the endless sky, half man, half memory, the living echo of mercy paid in blood and hair.